Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rob's Little Blue Book. This is going to be COVID edition round 2 because I managed to get COVID again somehow. Anyway, I'm a little tired, but I'm feeling better. But it hasn't been a fun week, really. I mean, I guess COVID's not fun for anybody. But we're gonna do it tonight. I have something I think really interesting to do tonight, and we're going to be doing pasta alla Papalina, I think. And so the origin of this dish, was a request from Pope Pius XII to create a dish that was similar to carbonara, but lighter and more sophisticated and more refined. Now, I don't particularly find carbonara unrefined right now. That was his wish. And one of the reasons, so normally with carbonara variants, I kind of ignore them because I really like carbonara and I don't really see any reason to mess with the recipe. But this one's kind of interesting because of the ingredients. And we're just going to jump right into the ingredients. And I'm going to talk about the cool thing in a sec. But while I'm on a roll and slightly focused, we're going to do this part. So, in this dish, first of all, we start with the sofrito, which is really interesting. I'm going to put a little bit of onion. The guanciale is and this is the main reason I want to do this dish. The guanciale is substituted with prosciutto, which now I know guanciale can be a challenge for people to find, but prosciutto, anybody can get this. When you go to your grocer, you want prosciutto. This is actually seems like a lot of prosciutto, doesn't it? You want about 100 grams of prosciutto for 2 people. That does seem like a lot, but anyway, I'm following the recommended portions here. But anybody can get this. You want to cut thick. This is cut about ½ centimeter thick, and because we're going to cut it into lardons the same way we would prep guanciale. We have a little bit of butter here. I want to talk a little bit about ingredients. You got butter, parm. Oh yeah, and so pecorino substituted with parm, which is fine. I mean, it's a little bit of a milder flavor. I mean, honestly, if you can get parm, you can get pecorino, but whatever. That's the other substitution. We've got our eggs and some butter. And the other interesting thing about this one, and which we're going to have to roll out here, is this calls for fresh pasta. Fresh fettuccine noodles. So I made this dough earlier because it needs to hydrate. That's kind of interesting to me because normally carbonara dishes or any pasta dish with like a heavy egg cream sauce is done on dry pasta, not an egg pasta, because that's a lot of egg, a lot of richness. So why you would take a dish that you're trying to make, hey Nick, why you would take a dish you're trying to make lighter and then make it heavier, don't know. But I haven't rolled out a sfolia in ages, and I thought that would be fun to do. I mean, I'm just going to follow the recipe and see how it goes. And as you know, we'll make it our own after. So let me make some room here, and I'm going to just talk while I roll out this sheet of pasta because otherwise we'll be here all night. And forgive me if I'm a little scatterbrained. The COVID brain thing is real. Anyway, just a reminder before we get into the pasta. Pasta is really easy to make. The recipe is very simple. There is only 2 ingredients, eggs and flour. And for each person you are serving, you want 100 grams of this stuff. This is, and it is important that you use Tipo 00 pasta flour. Fortunately, this is now available everywhere. But you do want this. I'm going to shake a bit out here. And then for each 100 grams of flour, it's 1 egg. I mean, what could be easier, right? We're going to dust this guy. I'm going to try and roll out a big sheet here. This is maybe a little bit ambitious, but we'll see how it goes. And now you can use of course I got my mozzarella here too. You can use a rolling pin. You can use a wine bottle. Pretty much anything that works. So any Why in France do they use 1 egg? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. Like for the portion size? Or is this the lead up to a joke? I'm not following, Serena. Somebody clue me in here. Oh, God. I knew that was coming. I knew it was going to be something like that. Okay, and if you remember from all the other episodes where we rolled out pasta, it's pretty straightforward. Wow, this is going to take a little while. This should have come out of the fridge. So you want to take it, don't do what I do, you want this to come out of the fridge a little bit before you get started. This is going to take a little bit of muscle to get out. But you can see here, let me show you how to roll it. So I'm turning it about, like a fish turner thing, like one of these, Nick? Wait, where's my fish turner? Like one of these guys, right? These are fantastic. I love mine. Gets a lot of use. Okay, so you can see here as I'm rolling this sheet out, and this isn't hard to do. Anybody can do this, guys. But you want to start with the pin here, so you can see the top half of my sheet, even as it gets bigger. And I'm rolling up, and I'm not rolling off the edge. If you roll off the final end, you will pinch that. You roll that end down, which is annoying later. So don't do that. Just give it some good rolling here. And we can talk about a couple things I want to talk about as we roll this out. First of all, the cool thing for tonight, I can't show you because I'm standing on it, but it's really comfy. So I've always had an anti-fatigue mat in my kitchen, and it's good for stream because I stand here I'm in the kitchen a lot. However, I wasn't totally thrilled with the one I got. So my partner Rebecca sent me from Amazon the same one that she has, which I quite like. So I have a new extra soft mat under my feet, but which kind of like got me thinking, because now that I have it and I love it, come on, let's go. This is gonna take a while. I kind of feel dumb for like standing on the old one for so long. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but I knew more comfortable ones existed, and I just thought, well, you know, I kind of spent the money on this one. I'll just live with it, and I realized that's not, when it comes to your kitchen. Well, when it comes to anything, but when it comes to your kitchen, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You're allowed to make mistakes, you know. That's okay. That's part of learning. And believe me, you guys have no idea how much I research and analyze purchases that I'm about to make, whether it's kitchen stuff, camera gear, stuff for stream. In the past, I've always just terrified to hit that submit order button on Amazon in case I'm making a mistake, buying the wrong thing. And I finally realized, oh, this has just got to go bigger. You got to give yourself, yes, I agree, Serena, but the philosophy is the same. You have to give yourself permission to, you know, try out stuff. Maybe you get the wrong thing, and that's okay. Give it to a friend, pass it on, donate it to Variety Village, and then get the right thing, you know? We've talked on the stream endlessly about we're not in the restaurant business. You know, we don't need a return on investment for any other. We're trying to speed this up, you guys. We don't need a return on investment for any of the things that we buy, right? What you do need, what you should be looking for when you buy things for your kitchen, or camera gear, or whatever, or computer stuff, or whatever you're into, it's not a return on investment. It's a return on creativity, right? You don't need to make, you know, if it's your hobby, you don't want it to make money. But what you do want is it for to enable you to be more creative, to let you do or try something that you haven't been able to try before, like this mozzarella that I have here. I researched these. These are actually pretty hard to find. I got this from a wonderful Canadian company out west in BC. Whose name escapes me. I should look it up because I'm doing them a disservice by not telling you who they are. But anyway, this was fantastic for me. And I wasn't sure what size to get. They come in all different lengths. This is, I think, 40 inches. And there was a 44 and a 48 and a 36. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what if I get the wrong size? But this has been fantastic. And if I bought one that was too short, and this one, thankfully I didn't get the bigger one because you can see it. Let me show you on camera. Like, this is about as big as I can get on my counter. So I nailed this one. But if I bought one too long, I would have given this to Pete because he has a much bigger counter. And I would have bought a shorter one. You know, shit happens. So don't, that whole analysis by paralysis thing is actually pretty real. No, got that backwards, didn't I? Paralysis by analysis? Anyway. Kind of ranting a bit, but I gotta talk about something while I make this fettuccine, which is turning out. So this dough, I'll tell you, talk about trying stuff out. I kind of suspected when I made this dough earlier that it wasn't hydrated enough, which is actually, and I was right. It's actually making it quite a bit of a challenge to roll out, but we will get there. Not in a hurry tonight, right? It's almost time to start stretching this guy out. Any questions on rolling pasta or... Now, this, I don't know, some people have said this, yeah, I know. Well, originally when I chose it, I didn't realize it called for fresh pasta. I was going to say something, what was it, guys? Somebody get me back on track here. Oh, people said like rolling out these sheets looks really intimidating or whatever, and complicated. This is really, really easy. Nick, this is working, I guess, triceps a lot, and lats, I would say. Right. Which reminds me, I do need to get out to the gym, but of course, you're not really welcome anywhere when you have COVID. Okay, now we're getting there. Still gonna get a little bit bigger. Okay. So we actually need to get this a lot thinner. If I had been smart, I would have bought some, like, let's give us a good stretch here, some dried fettuccine so that I could just bow out of this part and call it a day, but oh well. Doing it live, right? There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. Also, this is 4 portions. Probably could have made my life easier by just rolling out 2. Although I gotta say, like, I don't think that's true. It's actually easier to roll out a big sheet than a small sheet. I remember when we did hand-pulled noodles. It's kind of the same. Oops, hit the monitor. It's kind of the same concept as hand-pulled noodles. If you have a really short piece of elastic band, it's kind of hard to stretch. But if you have a really long piece of elastic band, it stretches much easier. And I'm pretty sure the same principle applies to rolling out these sheets of pasta. Okay, getting there. Yeah, I'm feeling this, guys. Serena's right, this may not have been the smartest choice for tonight. But bear with me because the dish goes together very simply soon. Let me give this a good stretch. I'm kind of pushing my luck with stretching this a bit, but also need to get it done. Almost there. So ideally we want this one for fettuccine to be about the thickness of sort of like 4 Post-it notes. And we are not there yet, but we are getting closer. Oh yeah, I remember we talked about being able to see well, theoretically you're supposed to be able to see the cathedral through the sheet, but I don't know if you guys can see, but I can start seeing slowly starting to see the grain show through my wood counter. That's when I know I'm getting close. Get a little bit of stretch here. I'm not sure what Nick is going to go cool about, but he can tell me because I can use a distraction. What's cool, Nick? Oh, the cathedral thing. Oh yeah, that's right. You probably you didn't see those first few streams. Yes, so that's what they tell you when you're in Italy. I'm not going to hold this sheet up because I don't have enough light in here to show. But yes, can you guys see it through the counter yet? Feel like we're getting there. I watched, of course, all of the really good videos on YouTube for this are all in Italian. There's very little English, except for one guy. But I have watched endless videos of Italian nonnas rolling these things out. And you wouldn't believe, I've seen them roll out with pins like twice the size of this thing, rolling out bed sheet sized sfolias. It's quite incredible. That was a near miss. Okay, we're getting there. Getting there. We're still a little. Actually, you know what? We're pretty close. We're pretty close. So, who else is out there tonight? I have a feeling Rebecca is not around tonight because her work is not being nice to her. Dumped a whole bunch of stuff on her the last second. But probably catch it on a rerun. Now this is where this sheet's big enough where you can hang. You guys can't see, but I've got like basically half of it hung off the thing. To give it a stretch, get it back. We're almost done, and then we'll cut this into noodles and get on with the show. Yeah, we're good. We're good. This is almost done. Done or not, we may just have slightly thick fettuccine noodles, which is okay too. Fast greens. Fast greens. Tonight, it's all about that. That's right. Okay. Actually, it looks pretty good here. Where's my semolina? I don't know. All right, I'm using regular flour. So you really should use, you want to cut these yet? One more. You really should use semolina, sprinkle the top with semolina when you're cutting. But I don't know where mine is, so it's okay. Yep, we're good. Okay. So, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. I felt like it was going to be a short stream, and I wanted to show this one more time. And I haven't done this in a little while, so I could use the practice. But there we go. Okay. Now to cut these into to cut these into noodles, you can make this into whatever noodles you want. We're doing fettuccine tonight. That's a good question, Serena. Like, you know, we make the carbonara sometimes with the little mezza rigatoni, which, you know, I think is quite nice. I would use different types of pasta, like the same way we do with the mezza rigatoni. I don't know that I would, add an ingredient yet until we try this. And you don't need to be worried about being a purist, because we're way off the reservation as far as carbonara goes anyway. Like, you know, we're following the directions of a pope, so you can't really go much wronger than that. Okay, so I'm going to cut this into fettuccine noodles. This is very straightforward. Takes just a couple minutes. And of course, I could cut... Now, fettuccine is actually kind of probably the smallest noodle you'd want to cut this way. You wouldn't want to try and do spaghetti like this. There's a different way to do spaghetti with fresh pasta, which I'll show you if I ever get around to investing in a chitara or a spaghetti guitar, pasta guitar, which is actually a really cool little gadget, but not tonight. This is just going to take a second. I'm not rushing this because it's a very sharp knife and I'm a little tired. I tell you, that's a good workout. And we're not going to use all of this, of course. This is at least 4 healthy portions, maybe 5. Almost there, almost there. They actually make, and I have refrained so far from buying them, they make a special knife for cutting past noodles like this. Contact. Yeah, and now you can just, yeah, they look great. No, I'm happy with these. They're not too thick at all. It is going to be a beefy noodle, but whatever. Let me just give it a shake. And there you go. There's your fettuccine noodle. Now that's actually about the right size. You can always go thinner, I feel, but and I do want these well coated with flour. So to keep these, by the way, toss them in semolina. If you're not using them all right away, you don't have to toss them like this. You could have curled them up into little nests and just let them air dry. Don't put them in, don't seal them up in plastic or anything. Just let them dry out until they get hard, just like regular pasta noodles. Okay. And okay, I'm not going to push my luck with this too much. I feel like we're spread out enough. I don't want to, sometimes when it sits, it'll stick. But this is going to go in the water pretty soon, so it's okay. Speaking of which, get the water going. That can go. Actually, let me clean up. Trying to be a little proactive on cleaning tonight. Okay. I'm gonna bring this over here. Forgot to put water up. Give me a sec, guys. So for this recipe, you are supposed to salt pasta water. We're going to talk about that in just a sec. Okay, water's on. Get my prosciutto back, my cutting board. Okay, so you are supposed to, of course, salt pasta water. I'm going to do it on here. Transfer it to the burner after. And for fresh pasta, when you're cooking fresh pasta noodles, you want to salt the water more heavily than you do with dry noodles, because these noodles are going to cook in like 2.5 minutes. So they're not in the water nearly as long. So if you want them to pick up the same amount of seasoning that you would do with dry noodles, dried pasta, you need to add more salt. Now, having said all that, prosciutto here, which we're going to cut up in a sec, is very salty. And so we don't want to be aggressive with the salt in the pasta water, because this is going to provide a lot of salt as well. So I'm just going to put just a token pinch in this water to get it going, and let's get this prosciutto cut up. So we're going to cut this into lardons, which these are lardons, guys. As I said before, I don't know why they're called that. Maybe because there's lard on them. But these are lardons, and like the guanciale, we want to cut like a... Tell me I'm not running out of gas. That would suck. Like the guanciale, you want to cut a pretty thick piece, because you want it to be crispy on the outside and tender on the inside when we fry it up. I think I'm out of gas. Yep. All right. I'm getting smarter though, because now I keep the gas like in the kitchen as opposed to the front hall cupboard. There we go. That's what I want to hear. Okay. You guys see okay? I feel like we got a lot going on here all of a sudden. So I'm going to cut this up. So right away, like as I said, I'm following some guidelines from online, from recipes that I've looked up, and right away I can tell you this is way more prosciutto than I would use the equivalent guanciale in a carbonara. So see how that ends up, but all right, I don't know, like, be okay, right? I think I'm just gonna line these up, and I'll run a knife through and cut these in a sec. Yeah, I kind of like big chunks in my carbonara, so I'm going to leave this a fair size. Those can get halved. Run a knife through these guys. Okay, now it looks a little more reasonable. It still seems like a lot to me, but the hell do I know, right? Okay. This can now go over here. So the other thing we got to do is prepare our egg, and let's get that going. Okay, so for carbonara, right, well, we're going to just have to roll with this one, hon. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Oh, and I did want to talk a little bit about ingredients while we prep too. Because for Italian dishes, and I know we've been through this a million times, this isn't sure, the quality of the ingredients is really important. So for prosciutto, actually I'm sure Canadian prosciutto is fine. I got Italian prosciutto, it was on sale. And it's pretty hard to go wrong with prosciutto because it's kind of a specialty preparation, so it's kind of all good. But for eggs, like, I've been buying better eggs. These are free-range, whatever eggs. And I think the whole free-range organic labels are bullshit. You can label anything organic if you want. There's no regulation in Canada. Or free-range, you can have free-range organic motor oil. However, what you can do with eggs, which you can't do with motor oil, is take it home and taste it. And so I tasted eggs. Like, I just bought cheap eggs, and I bought good eggs, and I tried different kinds of eggs side by side until I found eggs that I like. And And most of the eggs you can buy in a supermarket are good, but don't buy like really cheap eggs. I don't think it's worth it. So, and they're not that much more expensive. They're like $3 more a dozen. Butter, okay, so Gailey butter. Keep forgetting it's like an autofocus. Gailey butter, which you can get in Canada, is yeah. And I did the same thing with butter. Gailey butter, which you can buy in any supermarket, is great butter. This is a brand I get at Farm Boy, Organic Meadow, and it is like more than double Gailey butter. It's like $12 a pound, and you gotta wonder, like, is it worth paying $12 a pound for butter? And I tried to taste test. I mean, the easiest way to taste butter is make some toast and spread it on, and always unsalted, of course. So put a dash of salt on there and taste it. And I can taste the difference between this and Gailey butter, but you would never taste it in a. The thing is, you would never taste it in a dish. You could make a million carbonaras. I could never. If you made a carbonara with Gailey in this, I would never be able to tell you the difference. But if you can tell the difference on toast, then one does taste better. And, you know, butter isn't, it's not like you're using this like 10 pounds a week. I mean, even we don't use more than a pound of butter a week. Probably not even. So, to spend a little extra on butter, is it worth it? I mean, for me, yeah. And especially for a dish like this. So, you make your own decisions, do your own taste test. It's easy to prove to yourself what's good to you, where you should spend your money and where you shouldn't. So, I'm going to put this in the fridge, it's getting soft. That's kind of my butter rant. Anyway, we have what we need here for the thing. So we need a little bit of onion here for our sofrito, which is really, this is sort of the main departure from carbonara, because carbonara does not, wow, that was really fast, have a sofrito. And I only want, how do I want to do this? Okay. I really only want about half this onion, but I'll cut it up normal. And we're just going to, we want a kind of a fine dice on this guy. I only want about half of it, so we're going to take that. Kind of feel like that's enough. That is enough. Okay. Now let's get, now let's make the egg cream. So we get our onion ready, which is great. Egg cream, which we're going to do in this little bowl here. So for both carbonara in this dish and this dish, the general rule is 1 yolk per person plus a whole egg. So I'm going to separate this guy. Very poorly. Look at that. Okay. This is the worst egg separation I've ever done. And the reason you want a little bit of the egg white and why you don't use all yolks, because believe me, I'm not above using all yolks. I think they taste amazing. But you do want some egg white in there. It helps with the sauce get up to a nice consistent shine, which we do want. All right, just, hey, our food budget isn't that high. Okay, it's a little high. Okay, so that's our eggs is ready to go. Where's our cheese? Where did our cheese go? Yeah, here we are. We're gonna grate a little cheese. And to be honest, like, okay, so the butter's $12 a pound, but this is only, what do I got here? 20 grams of butter. This is a quarter's worth of butter in a whole dish. So it's not like it's crazy out of control. Anyway, like always, I just sort of err on the side of doing prep with you guys. I could have done this before, but partly, like I like doing with you, and partly I want to show everybody like how easy and quickly this can go. Like our streams, even with me talking and rambling on, seldom go over the hour mark, right? No matter how complicated what we're doing is. Okay. It was really good parm. And you can save money on parm if you get it at Costco. Costco parm is wonderful and inexpensive. No, and Serena, I agree. You would use the Gailey butter for that. Okay, so the cheese goes into the egg cream. And what we're going to do here too, and so I actually learned something this week too. We're going to add just a pinch of salt, because we're going to have to season the dish anyway. I'm putting a pinch of salt into the egg, because what that does is it raises the temperature at which the eggs will coagulate, which means it raises the temperature at which your eggs scramble, which gives you a little more leeway, because that's the one thing. One thing you have to watch with this dish is if the heat's too hot, your eggs are going to scramble. If they do scramble, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. It'll still taste great, but it's not great for the consistency of the sauce. I'm also going to put in about that much pepper. I'm just going to put that straight in the egg cream too. You can kind of add the pepper. Sometimes I add it to the guanciale when I'm frying it up. Sometimes I put it into the egg cream. I don't think it really matters. I'm doing it here because I remembered to do it this time. Okay. So for onions, we are going to make a sofrito, which means we're going to saute them, but we don't want... Sorry, what we don't want is... we don't want a dirty pan. My God. Give me a sec, guys. You can tell I haven't been doing much around the kitchen for a week. We don't want any color on these onions. So we're going to do a gentle saute. We're actually going to add probably a little bit of water to keep so that they steam a little bit as well as saute. What do I do with my onions? Oh, there we are. There we go. Onions in. Okay. I do want the heat till the butter melts. I'm gonna kind of like split the difference here. I'm gonna keep the heat up a bit because I don't want to be here all night sauteing onions, but we'll add a bit of water to that. Yeah, onions are great. You know, I mean, there's a reason they're the foundation of so many dishes. I quite like them too. Now, so here, one of the reasons we're using water as well is these are just plain old yellow onions, and we do want to take a little bit of the edge, like a little bit of the onion bite out, because this is supposed to be a refined dish, and so we want that edge gone, but we want that deep onion flavor. Yeah, I mean, it's an aromatic, Nick. You got it exactly right. Remind me next time you're over, I'll make you the Oklahoma burger, which is basically onions and meat. It's good. Add a little more water. Okay, so this is gonna let this go for a couple minutes before we. Yeah, because I think that the Oklahoma burger episode is gone in the Twitch in the Twitch days. But Nick, the Oklahoma burger was invented, I think, just after the Second World War, when meat was still in short supply. And so people used to use onions to bulk out their meat, and it's literally, you just take it's like a smash burger style, and you smash the patty down, and then you just put like razor thin onion, like you slice your onions really, 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 really thin, and you put like just this huge mound on top of the burger, smash it flat, flip it over, and finish frying it and eat it. It's really good. Next time you're over, we'll get out the flat top out front, and we'll do that. It's really fun. Okay, I kind of like where the onions are at. The onions are in a good spot here. You got a nice translucent color. Can you guys see? Yeah, you guys can see. Once they get translucent like that, I think we're cooked good enough to go. So in goes the guanciale. In goes the pancetta. No, not pancetta. What am I putting in here? Prosciutto. And we're going to put the heat up a bit. Get this crispy. Turn the pasta back on, or pass the water back on. So, and we'll talk a little bit about experiments too, because you guys know that I bought this pan at Alla. I bought it specifically to do what I'm doing here with this wok. And this is one of my failed learning experiences, is that this is a great frying pan, but it's lousy for pasta because there's not enough, I don't know if you guys can see the angle, but there is not enough angle on the end of the pan to flip. So I went to flip the first few times and just fired food all over the kitchen. So I'm going to donate that pan and go look for the proper thing. No harm done, right? So a prosciutto, of course, is cured completely through, so we don't need to cook this. We just need to get a nice crispy edge on it. It's actually taking a little bit of time. Yeah, I love this pan. Like, if you're talking about the wok here, I got this at Galleria. You can get them in any Asian market, and it has just been bulletproof. It's exactly the right shape. I don't need like the Italian version all aluminum. This is also all aluminum, which is important sometimes. Getting some good color here. The reason you want to use an aluminum pan for carbonara, cacio e pepe, pasta alla gricia, anything where you're, or especially carbonara, where you're putting eggs in a hot pan, is when you lift this pan off the heat, because it's aluminum, it will shed heat extremely quickly, which gives you more control. Now that's not always desirable. You know, if you're making a steak, and you get your pan ripping hot, which you should, you don't want that pan to cool down the minute you put a cold steak in it, which is why you use cast iron for doing things like that, for searing meat. You use a cast iron pan because has a lot of thermal mass. Okay, I want more crisp on this. I'm not getting my crisp here, guys. Now I'm worried I'm going to burn my onions. I'm going to turn this down and go slow. Just going to take a sec. We're getting there. We're getting there. The question is, will it be done in the 3 minutes that pasta's going to take? Okay. Now we're getting there. We're getting there. You just got to be patient, right? I'm doing Nick. I'm doing carbonara for Aviva for the SPI Cooks thing in October. Okay, I'm just gonna let that sit for a sec and be patient. Any questions on anything we've done so far? Yeah, I like doing the SPI. I mean, obviously I like doing it because I do this every week. I do like it doing it for the people at work. I think they thought they were like imposing on me when they asked me to do it before. So I reached out. I was like, hey, I really like doing them. Let me do another one. By the way, you guys probably don't notice, I'm using a different lens tonight. It's a little wider angle. I got a little closer. I'm really just doing it to try it out. There's nothing wrong with the old one. I kind of like the color rendition on this one. I think the colors are a little nicer, but that could just be like me in my head trying to justify the purchase. I don't know. Okay, this is almost ready. Got some fat rendered out, which is nice. I mean, that's the other thing too about, because we don't use butter in carbonara. Okay, give me a sec, guys. I'm going to drop half the pasta and get it going. We'll rip a lot. I'll check that after a couple minutes. Okay, pasta, and this is ready. Okay, look at that. Just like that. Turn around and it's done. So my trick for this part, once your guanciale, I do this with the guanciale, once this is done, is to grab a bit of the pasta water, just get it in there. Okay, so this does two things. First of all, it stops the it's the other pea meat. It stops the prosciutto from cooking, and it also starts giving us, we can get to work on our emulsion now. So the pasta water, which will have a lot of starch in it, will start to emulsify with the fat in the pan. And this gets us started on the way to our nice creamy sauce. I do want a little bit of this to boil off. So, okay, any questions? We're getting down to the end here, guys. Almost done. Let's get a couple of bowls here for serving. These are the side. I mean, it smells amazing. There we go. Turn that all the way off. Now we're just waiting on the pasta. Oh, it looks amazing. Wow, okay, great. It looks really, really good. What a night, you guys. Okay. So we got our pasta noodles here, and always, as with all pastas, doesn't matter what you're making, it's always hot. Noodles into the sauce. Never sauce on the noodles. And the fettuccine noodles just cooked up beautifully. I'm very, very happy with that. We'll keep the pasta water just in case we need it. We're going to put the heat up a bit. We'll stir this. We're going to flop it around a little, coat the noodles before we add our eggs. Okay, so now here's where we want the heat to be off of it. Now, if you're unsure, here's another trick for carbonara. Maybe I'll just show you how to do this. If you're unsure, you want to temper the egg slightly. Another thing you can do is take, a little tiny bit of the pasta water, and we can temper the eggs here. So we can just like kind of pre-warm them up so that they don't scramble in the pan. I think we're good to go. Heat's still on. Another thing you can do, take it off the heat. just to ensure, and let's just give this a good stir. Looks incredible. Okay, and now we're just creaming it up till it's the right consistency. And you can do that overheat or not, depending on how lucky you feel. But it does look good. Now I just want it to sit a couple minutes, just get everything, and we want the sauce just, there we go. There. I don't know if you guys can see that glisten on the noodles. This is just about, actually this is just about the perfect consistency. I don't even want to change anything. Okay, so you can adjust the consistency of your sauce here. You can add a little pasta water if you like. And usually I have to. However, for whatever reason, we kind of nailed the consistency right now. So it's time to eat it. Of course, I don't have forks. There we go. Found a fork. I'm pretty sure Serena's got one in her office. Oh. Okay, heat's off. See, turn my back on it for a second, but everything is just fine. There we go. Okay. Now let's plate this up. Just grab all the strands. Now I'm going to go, whoa, that's a lot of noodles. I'm going to go light on the prosciutto for Serena because she's not a huge fan, but it still tastes amazing. So, okay. Get that twirled in there. Wow, that's a big ladle full of pasta. And then just into the, there we go. And I know it's just like prosciutto. I'm going to top it with a couple pieces just for presentation's sake. And give me a sec before I deliver this. And always, guys, like, the presentation's a lot serious, so I've slopped all over the rim. Just take a sec, like, clean up the rim of your plate, you know? Looks so nice. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is, because mine won't look this good because I'm just going to put it in the bowl and eat it. But I'll hold that up for you guys to have a look. That is pasta alla, who's this guy? Fettuccine alla Papalina. We're going to taste it in a sec when I get back and see if the Pope knows what he's talking about. Give me a sec. I have returned. All right, let's plate up one more. Let's see if I can get a little twirl going on mine. Nope. Okay, mini tower for me. Again, you don't have to fuss with this too much at home, guys. All right then. I do want my noodles though, hang on. And yeah, I think if I was gonna go back, I'd adjust this recipe. That's just so much, I love prosciutto. Like, I'm not like Serena. I think it's fantastic, but it just seems like a lot of prosciutto in a dish. I might adjust the portions. All right, guys. Cheers. Here's to grapefruit soda or whatever. Little palate cleanser. Let's see how this is. Got a little pancetta. Wow. Okay, it's definitely different than carbonara. It's definitely, yeah, Serena, it is very salty. It's definitely not like, this isn't like carbonara at all. This is entirely its own dish. honestly, I'd say this lacks the refinement of carbonara. The prosciutto is like in your face salty. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It tastes really good, but I don't know. I would put like half the prosciutto in this dish. Yeah. It's really good, but this is very salty. The noodles are wonderful. I would try this again. I'm not sure, unless I got the quantities wrong or something. Oh, hey Nick, have a yeah. There's a reason he was a pope, not a chef. I don't know. I think this is worth making again. But there's just some things about it, like, I love fresh pasta noodles. They're great, but it's so rich. Like, you got an egg noodle, like an egg pasta with an egg sauce. I mean, maybe if you're the Pope, this doesn't seem that rich. You know, like if you got more money than God in the first place, maybe his values are skewed. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they are, right? But anyway, it's really good. But you know what? If I was going to go to this trouble, I would not. I would just make carbonara. This isn't a bad dish, but it's kind of inferior to carbonara in most ways. It's too rich because of the noodles. The prosciutto is not guanciale, so it's way leaner, which isn't necessarily bad, but it also means it's chewy. Like, when you do guanciale, it has this wonderful crunch on the exterior, but it's quite fatty inside, so it's just ooey gooey in the center. This isn't. These are like, no. The more I eat this, the less I like it. I guess we're not going to win every single one. The only thing that annoys me is that I used up a whole bunch of fresh pasta on it, which I could have used for something else. I don't know, guys. This is like the OG. I didn't mess around. I literally took the exact ingredients from research. Oh, this thing? Yeah, these are great. I got a set silicone spatula. I love mine. In fact, wait. These were, I think Serena ordered these from me from Amazon.com. Anyway, they're wonderful. All right, guys. I am going to, I'm going to call this a miss. I'm going to call this a miss to the point where I'm not even going to finish this. The first bite was great. Maybe it's like a little micro appetizer. It's salty and super rich. Not a fan. That's what you get for messing with carbonara, right? Oh well, I'll make it up to you guys next week. Oh, switching back. Okay, so I'm basically about almost asleep right now, so I'm gonna call it a night. And if you guys have any questions, then just ask me in person when you see me. So it's been great as always. I'm glad I got a chance to tune in and do this with you guys. But everybody have an amazing evening, and I will see everybody next week. And I don't know what I'm doing next week. It definitely won't be this. I'll think of something really good. If you have any suggestions, just hit me over text or Facebook or whatever during the week, and I'm happy to accommodate everybody. So, in the meantime, have a good night, guys.